This is Informer News, your voice of the people. Timeline is Sunday the 25th of August 2013. Welcome along my friends to another edition of Informer News. Coming up in this week's broadcast, Prati Prasad, whistleblower or fake disinformer, you decide. Plus, surviving the coming pole shift, tips on how to survive this coming event. Okay, into this week's news. This first report originates from somethingblue.hubpages.com and is titled Planet X Nibiru, Surviving the Pole Shift in 2013. Mindset. Without a doubt, those that live on the coast at sea level worldwide will be affected by the rising ocean levels and floods, especially those that live near river deltas. As the sea levels continue to rise, whether it is gradual or extreme, it will affect the river's ability to dump its water into the ocean. This means that rivers will overflow, backflow their banks and flood as they back up from being unable to empty into the sea at the river mouths. This is what is happening in Brisbane, Australia right now, as the Wilson River and its tributaries can no longer empty into the Coral Sea and are backflowing, causing major flooding. This has been caused by torrential downpours that are dumping record amounts of rainfall across eastern Australia. These kinds of events have become more common in just the last 3 years and are flooding all major river deltas worldwide. Over 500 million people live on river deltas the world over and are at risk of losing their homes. This will create an unprecedented amount of refugees that will cripple our nation's economy and stretch emergency workers and resources to their limits. Ironically, the most valuable commodity during a flood is drinking water. As fresh water becomes scarce, sanitary living conditions break down and many go without power. Those living near the coast will have to be resourceful and thrifty to survive. However, what could be their greatest asset is a good retreat route and a plan what to do in case of storms or floods. This is where it is important to keep a good mindset. Planning and preparation will breed confidence and help ensure that you do not panic. I have prepared an emergency backpack for my home and my car, which I have filled with items that I think will help me to survive in a camping type situation. I have listed below the items I have in each as a guide to help others prepare their own. Lighters and fire starter kits, watertight containers, dryer lint, hand AX and pocket knife, survival knife, warm clothes in sealed waterproof bag, fishing gear, rope, flashlights, what operates by cranking, lanterns and propane, water purifying tablets, tent and sleeping bags, collapsible shovel, medical supplies, 4-day supply of food, rear gear, toilet paper or reusable rag, bicycler water jug, fits inside pack, duct tape, glue, durable warm gloves, warm jacket, lots of pockets, carbonizers, tin foil, tools, Gerber, comes in the form of a pocket knife, cooking utensils and pan, grill. Anything can be destroyed by water should be packed in waterproof containers or bags. Even lighters. Keep these survival packs handy, but do not make them too heavy to carry easy, as this will become a burden. Learn to use your fire starter kits. This takes practice and most of the time it will be done in unfavourable conditions, so save your dryer lint to help you. In some videos on using fire starter kits, duct tape is suggested to use as tender, but what should be considered is that the sticky side can be used to catch your magnesium shaving as well. Just turn the tape inside out and place it to catch the shavings into a pile. Then strike your flint, quartz or minch metal ferrite rod to create a spark. Go camping with your gear to give yourself a chance to learn how to use these items. Try setting up your tent in the dark. Try using your fire starter kits on a windy day. Try building a crude shelter in the woods to see how it can be done and what tools you may need to accomplish this and need to carry with you. Go fishing with your gear and eat the fish you catch so that you know what is involved, including cleaning and cooking the fish. Learn what bait can be caught and used and where to find them. Learn to cook outside and how to use your water purifying tablets. Learn how to build a fire for cooking and how to set up rocks or wood for a cooking surface. I for one believe being mobile will ensure my safety, as environmental conditions will change constantly. Yes, it will be important to have a base of operation, a camp, a house, cave in which to store supplies, but by staying mobile will help you to be able to adapt to changing conditions. This of course leads to the question of what people should do to protect themselves in a lawless environment. This is why I suggest that you find a way now to move to a smaller community in the country while you can and begin to make preparations. Smaller communities will offer many survivors more resources and the ability to defend themselves from roving gangs. As resources become scarce, having less to feed and provide shelter for will become the main priority for all communities as they try to improve their living conditions. The thoughts have crossed my mind that those that do not survive may be better off than those that do, as the survivors will be faced with many decisions that they have never faced before or had any experience with. There will be many injured and sick people unable to fend for themselves, so how to deal with those people will define the survivors and stretch their moral imperatives. Planet X Nibiru surviving the pole shift in 2013 will take planning and the willingness to do so. However, it will not be easy, and no matter how well you do plan, Murphy's Law undoubtedly will occur. Ultimately, the safest location will be high mountain valleys, such as those found in the Rockies throughout Colorado, Wyoming and Montana. These regions will provide the safest areas to ride out the rising sea levels, protection from hurricane-force winds and earthquakes. The atmosphere is usually changing very quickly as the wind is constant, and so will blow away much of the volcanic ash that will cover up the sunlight in most regions. Of course, these areas will be subject to mountain building and volcanic activity, but they often have a high density of animal life and fish. The water will be cleaner in these areas and free-flowing. These regions of the earth, of course, are often much colder than other areas, but are more remote with less people competing for resources. To more accurately determine any location you may live in, the site ZetaTalk and Troubled Times offers much more comprehensive pages to help you. I would suggest anyone looking for more information on their particular living areas to visit these sites in helping to determine the safest locations. Planet X Nibiru surviving the pole shift in 2013 will not be for the faint of heart and will require one to adapt to survive. The greatest moral decisions will be how and when to use deadly force on others that may try to harm you. I will try to avoid these kinds of confrontations by being aware of my surroundings and those in them. However, when it is called for, I will act accordingly and without hesitation. Conclusion. Above all, try to remain calm and not panic. Think strategies through before reacting under stressful situations, as this will help you to make good decisions. Observe your surroundings when deciding on places to camp or live. Locate areas that won't flood but are near clean drinking water. Find good defensible locations to sleep or camp and keep your weapon close to you in the case you need access to them quickly. Learn to use your survival gear now before things get more difficult for you. Spend time in the woods camping and hiking to get a feel for your surroundings and how to use your gear. When hiking, take one of your survival packs with you to gauge its weight and how to more easily use your gear. Hopefully in this article, Planet X Nibiru surviving the pole shift in 2013, I have given the reader something to think about and enough practical knowledge and insight to make their own preparations. For the full transcript, go to my website endtimes23.com where I've posted the link. This report originates from dublinsmic.wordpress.com and is titled Here Comes the Sun. Patty L. Brassard, former NASA and Bell Labs specialist, warns of second sun and earthquakes. Posted on August the 7th, 2013. I've been blogging about this subject for a long time. Lately we have seen US personnel removed from various embassies, Russia and China engaging in joint military preparedness drills, FEMA ordering large quantities of emergency food, etc., and Russia seems keen to build some mini subs with Italy. Patty L. Brassard is suffering from depleted uranium exposure and has serious health problems. She doesn't think she will be here for very long. Patty L. Brassard is a former US Army tech specialist who works for NASA, Bell Labs, Lockheed Martin and others. Listen to this urgent message about what she says will happen to Seattle and the whole US West Coast later this month, and the true consequences of Fukushima, how HAARP, chemtrails and smart meters are really being used, and the fast approaching binary sun with 7 planets that world governments have known about for 50 years. After which they started building deep underground bases in secret. If she is correct, we're in for big trouble. Please listen with discernment. This is very serious, if true. Would like to hear from anyone who knows of evidence that she is lying. NASA experts warn of coming events in August 2013, possibly a mega quake. Patty Brassard also has a blog with some very interesting photographs. You be the judge. This one is infrared. It does look a bit like the dragon's tail, stellar feature of Chinese culture. It is similar to the ones you see in the gift shops, holding a crystal symbolising the sky dragon, which holds the earth in its hand. The sky dragon is a very prominent feature of Chinese history and in fact is their national symbol. It is featured on the walls of the Forbidden City or Temple of Heaven. Some final experts from Mother Shipton's poem, not the complete poem. The king shall false promise make and talk just for talking's sake. The nations plan horrific wars and like has never been seen before. The taxes rise and lie thee down and nations wear perpetual frown. Not every soul on earth will die as the dragon's tail goes sweeping by. Not every land on earth will sink, but these will wallow in stench and stink, of rotting bodies of beast and man, of vegetation crispened on land. But the land that rises from the sea will be dry and clean and soft and free, of mankind's dirt and therefore be the source of man's new destiny. And those that live near ever fear the dragon's tail for many year. But time erases memory, you think it strange, but it will be. And before the race is built anew, a silver serpent comes to view, and spew out men of like unknown, to mingle with the earth now grown. Cold from its heat, and these men can enlighten, and mind of future man, to intermingle and show them to how to live and love and thus endow the children with a second sight, a natural thing, so that they might grow graceful, humble, and when they do, the golden age will start anew. The dragon's tail is but a sign for mankind's fall and man's decline, and before this prophecy is done, I shall be burned at the stake as one, my body singed and my soul set free. You think I utter blasphemy. You're wrong, these things have come to me, this prophecy will come to be. And when the dragon's tail is gone, man forgets and smiles and carries on, to apply himself too late for mankind, has earned deserved fate. Now this final report, I was going to post information from Godlike Productions, which allegedly was a posting by Patty Brassard's sister onto her Facebook site. Now, this was absolutely disgusting what was posted, but since then I've learned that Patty Brassard does not have a sister. So I believe what was posted on Godlike Productions and Facebook is disinformation, and is proof that the powers that be are very worried about what Patty Brassard is putting out. And there could be a lot of truth in it, guys. And I believe who posted that information on Facebook was probably, more than likely, NASA trolls. The elites have ordered these trolls to go to Patty's site and post this highly provocative, nasty comments. Guys, don't believe it, don't believe it. I believe what Patty's putting out could well be spot on, but time will tell. But what I can say here and now is that there's been a big uptick in earthquakes, a big uptick in earthquakes in the last few days. So something's going on, guys, something's going on, and I believe Patty might well be onto something here. It might not all be true, a timeline might be out, but I think basically the information is correct. Okay, anyway, I'll leave that for you to decide. Is she a faker disinformer or a truther? You decide. Okay, my friends, you're all invited to join this channel by subscribing to End Times 23, which is a totally free subscription service. You're also invited to add me as a friend on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. Both the links are under this video. All this week's news links can be found on my website, endtimes23.com. The link is under this video. Just click on the link and go to the top left hand corner of the opening page and click on Informer News links. You'll find all this week's news links at the top of the page under this week's title of video. Well, that's your lot for this week, my friends. I do hope you enjoyed the show. I'll be back with you in a week's time with another edition of Cosmic News. So until then, this is your informer signing off saying, see you soon, guys. See you on the flip side. Becomes scarce, sanitary living conditions break down and many go without power. Those living near the coast will have to be resourceful and thrifty to survive. However, what could be their greatest asset is a good retreat route and a plan what to do in case of storms or floods. This is where it is important to keep a good mindset. Planning and preparation will breed confidence and help ensure that you do not panic. I have prepared an emergency backpack for my home and my car, which I have filled with items that I think will help me. As the sea levels continue to rise, whether it is gradual or extreme, it will affect a river's ability to dump its water into the ocean. This means that rivers will overflow, backflow their banks and flood as they back up from being unable to empty into the sea at the river mouths. This is what is happening in Brisbane, Australia right now, as the Wilson River and its tributaries can no longer empty into the Coral Sea and are backflowing, causing major flooding. This has been caused by torrential downpours that are dumping record This is Informer News, your voice of the people. Timeline is Sunday the 25th of August 2013. Welcome along, my friends, to another edition of Informer News. Coming up in this week's broadcast, Patty Brassard, whistleblower or fake disinformer, you decide. Plus, surviving the coming pole shift, tips on how to survive this coming event. Okay, into this week's news. This first report originates from somethingblue.hubpages.com and is titled Planet X Nibiru, Surviving the Pole Shift in 2013. Mindset. Without a doubt, those that live on the coast at sea level worldwide will be affected by the rising ocean levels and floods, especially those that live near river deltas. Record amounts of rainfall across eastern Australia. These kinds of events have become more common in just the last 3 years and are flooding all major river deltas worldwide. Over 500 million people live on river deltas the world over and are at risk of losing their homes. This will create an unprecedented amount of refugees that will cripple our nation's economy and stretch emergency workers and resources to their limits. Ironically, the most valuable commodity during a flood is drinking water, as fresh water